Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey YouTube, Jim here. Welcome to Top 10 Archive. It's no secret that people can be downright creepy. And I don't mean whispers to themselves in the cafeteria kind of creepy. I'm talking about people that cross that boundary from the slightly weird to the realm of the unsettling. These 10 individuals fit the billing for the creepiest people ever to have lived. Before our spines start to crawl and your instinct is to shut the video off, be sure to hit that subscribe button and click the bell for more from the Top 10 team. Have your own creepy people suggestions? List them off in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that thumbs up button.
Number 10. Luis Garavito. During the 1990s, poor neighborhoods around Colombia feared for their lives, knowing that somewhere out there, a serial killer was claiming the lives of local boys. When the missing boys were found, their mutilated state wasn't the only shocking discovery. Many of the bodies discovered, all boys between 8 and 16 years old, showed signs of sexual assault. When Garavito was picked up in 1999 under suspicion of sexually assaulting a young boy, he confessed to 140 murders. According to the killer, he dressed as a monk or a priest to lure the underprivileged youth in. Number 9. Gilles de Rais. Even for many prisoners, there's a general rule that even the most rough and gruff people follow. Children are off limits. During the 15th century, however, that likely wasn't commonplace, which bred this creepy nobleman of France. Gilles de Rais served as a commander for Joan of Arc during the 100 Years' War, but his noble status was ripped away when he was accused of Satanism and the murder of infants. After his arrest, de Rais was accused of abducting, torturing, and murdering over 140 children. Number 8. Ilse Koch. It takes a lot to be considered one of the creepiest, most terrifying human beings during the Nazi expansion in Europe, but Ilse Koch achieved that status effortlessly. Wife to Karl Otto Koch, a Nazi commandant at Buchenwald concentration camp, Koch was known for her brutality toward prisoners and for hand-selecting victims whose skin appealed to her. Those picked by Koch were flayed so the devilish mistress could turn it into luxury items like lampshades and a handbag that she frequently kept close. Number 7. Ted Bundy. During the late 20th century, Ted Bundy rose to notoriety when he was connected to the murders of at least 36 women. Beyond being beaten to death by Bundy, his victims showed signs of rape and, even more horrifying, evidence of the killer's necrophilia. Bundy admitted to only 36 murders, many of whom resembled his college girlfriend, but experts believe that number is actually over 100. On January 24, 1989, the necrophiliac was put to death. Number 6. Charles Manson. Beyond his wide-eyed stare, Manson earned the title of one of America's creepiest criminals for his ability to brainwash more than 100 of his followers. He was even able to twist their minds into committing heinous crimes throughout California. Members of Manson's cult, the family, were linked to more than 30 killings, including the deaths of Sharon Tate and Leno and Rosemary LaBianca. Manson's own demented mind led him to believe that he was the harbinger of the apocalypse. Number 5. John Wayne Gacy. What's creepier than a clown? How about a clown linked to the deaths of at least 33 young men? In 1968, John Wayne Gacy, a performing clown at children's parties, was arrested on sexual assault charges. After serving 2 years and being released on parole, he was accused of sexual assault by 3 more victims, and it was at this time that he was questioned on the disappearance of other young men. Questioning led to the truth. Gacy was a killer. After sexually assaulting his victims, He murdered them, sometimes doing so wearing his clown costume. Number 4. Joachim Kroll. When money gets tight, people often turn to ramen to save money on groceries. In the late 1970s, Joachim Kroll went to the drastic measure of eating the flesh of his 13 murder victims. In 1976, Kroll was pegged as the murderer of 4-year-old Marion Ketter when her remains were found blocking the water pipes of his apartment building. Ketter's parts were also found in Kroll's fridge and boiling in a pot of water. When questioned on eating his victims, Kroll quite literally said it was to save on grocery store bills. Number 3. Jeffrey Dahmer. When Tracy Edwards was picked up on the side of the road on July 22, 1991, he wound up exposing one of the creepiest murder sprees of the 20th century. Jeffrey Dahmer was active from 1978 to 1991, kidnapping mostly African-American men he'd met at gay bars and then strangling them to death. Once dead, Dahmer followed through with the lewd acts he had promised to lure them to his apartment. When police responded to Edwards' claim that Dahmer had drugged and handcuffed him, they found a house of horrors, the most personal souvenirs of his victims and Polaroids of his acts. Number 2. Richard Chase. Anyone that can willingly kill another person without just cause is creepy. But throw in some of the other accusations made against Richard Trenton Chase, and you have yourself a candidate for the creepiest man of the year. In his earlier years, Chase captured and disemboweled animals, sometimes using their entrails to make a raw smoothie to keep his heart from shrinking. In December of 1977, after being briefly institutionalized for injecting rabbit's blood into his veins, Chase began a month-long killing spree. Several of his 6 victims showed signs of being raped post-mortem and consumed in manners that would get this video demonetized. Number 1. Albert Fish. Included in Albert Fish's repertoire of horrors were cannibalism, urophilia, coprophilia, masochism, and pedophilia, all of which combined together to create the Werewolf of Wisteria. Though Fish confessed to 3 murders, he made the vague statement that he had children in every state. Whether he was referencing cannibalism or pedophilia was never clarified, but either is terrifying to consider, and we have a feeling it's probably both. Fish was connected to the murders after a gruesome anonymous letter was sent to the parents of 10-year-old Grace Budd. The letter, sent 7 years after Grace's disappearance, provided grotesque detail of Grace's murder and Fish's cannibalistic tendencies. Thanks for watching. How brave of you to make it through the entire video. Will it make you start looking differently at the people around you now? Don't get paranoid. You can take your mind off of it by watching one of these 2 archive videos. Enjoy.